Friends, please subscribe, like, and comment. This is very important to us. You strike with a word, an action, a betrayal. Your weapon is chosen. The attack is calculated. You wait for an answer, waiting for a scream, excuses, tears, aggression, waiting for fuss, waiting for proof of your strength, proof that you have hurt, touched, exist in the emotional space of the victim. But nothing happens. In response, silence. Deep, all-consuming, bottomless. Not ominous, not hysterical, but just nothing. As if you shouted into the abyss and did not even hear an echo. Your blow hung in the void. This silence is not passivity. It is a weapon, and it is more frightening than any hysteria. Why? Because it is the quintessence of Stoicism. And here's how it works. Your reaction is their fuel. Any emotional reaction you have is confirmation. Confirmation that the blow has reached its target, that you control the emotional state of the other person. Gloating, a sense of power, self-affirmation. All this is built on your response. Your tears are their water. Your anger is their fire. Your excuses are their building material for the next attack. What happens when you deprive them of this fuel? Their mechanism breaks. They swing brass knuckles, but hit empty space. And from this inertia, they themselves lose their balance. They are left alone with their own blow, which did not find its target. And this blow returns to them like a boomerang. They begin to doubt. Did he even understand? Did he hear? Does it hurt? Or maybe I am not important enough for him to react somehow. Their monologue turns into a silent movie. And playing alone is boring and pointless. Silence is not weakness. It is an impregnable fortress. Imagine two people. One rushes around the battlefield, firing from all guns, screaming, wasting ammunition, strength, nerves. He is in plain sight. He is vulnerable. His logic can be calculated, his emotions predicted. The second has simply disappeared. He is behind the strong walls of a citadel. You do not see him. You do not know what he is doing, what he is planning, what he is feeling. He is simply watching your hysteria from the heights of his walls. He is safe. He is conserving his strength. He is in control of the situation, simply by refusing to play by your rules. Your silence is these walls. This is not an escape. This is a strategic placement at an unattainable height. You give the enemy nothing. No information, no reason, no point of application of force. There is nothing to attack. And this drives crazy those who are accustomed to the noise of battle. What is really happening in the silence? And why is it so effective? From the outside, it seems that nothing. In fact, work is in full swing inside the fortress. But not over the plan of revenge, but over yourself. Stoicism teaches, we do not control events, but we control our attitude towards them. First, damage assessment. In silence, you ask yourself the only true questions. Is this within my control? Can I fix it? If not, this is not a reason for hysteria, but for letting go. You acknowledge the fact. Yes, I was hurt, but you do not let this pain control you. Second, energy conservation. Any emotional reaction is a colossal waste of energy. Rage, resentment, the desire for revenge. They eat you up from the inside, poisoning you. Silence is a way to conserve your energy for something truly important. For yourself, your goals, your loved ones. You do not spill precious fuel on those who do not deserve it. Third, depriving the opponent of status. By responding, you recognize the opponent as a significant player on your field. You stoop to his level. Your silence is a polite but irresistible step up to another level. It's a message that says, sorry, but you're not in my league. You're not even on my radar. It's the most humiliating thing for someone who craves conflict. How do you tell the difference between healthy silence and repressed pain? This is a key question. I'm not talking about silencing pain when you're silent, but inside you're screaming and exploding. This is not stoicism. This is suppression. It's destructive. Repressed pain is an explosion on pause. You're silent, but your face is twisted into a grimace. Your fists are clenched, and your mind is spinning a revenge scenario. You don't respond, but you're shaking. This is not strength. It's weakness under control. Stoic silence is calm. It's a decision. You consciously choose not to participate. You don't spin dialogues, because that's also a form of reaction, a mental turmoil. You accept the fact. This person tried to hurt me. It happened. I can't undo it, but I can control what happens next. And then I get back to my life. You don't waste a single thought on them. That's power. How do you practically apply this weapon? This isn't about just shutting up. It's a system. 1. Pause. Before you react, take a breath. 1. Remember your fortress. Ask yourself, what will my response give me? Will it make me feel better? Or will I just give him what he wants? 2. Internal dialogue. Say to yourself not, I must remain silent, but I choose not to play this game. My resources are more valuable. Reframing it as a decision, not as suppression. 3. Action instead of reaction. Your energy must find an outlet, but not in his direction. Direct it at yourself. Go to a workout. Do some work. Read a book. Spend time with someone who values you. Show yourself in the world that your life is more important than someone's pathetic provocation. Your silence is not ignoring. It is a sentence. It is a verdict that a person and his actions do not deserve a second of your attention. And this is the smartest and most powerful answer. They are waiting for an explosion, and you give them a vacuum. And in this vacuum, any aggression of theirs fades away. They are afraid of your silence, because it is the final and irreversible form of devaluation. It says louder than any scream, you are nothing. The vacuum in which their expectations are suffocated. Imagine an actor who's gone on stage, rehearsed an angry tirade, prepared to get a standing ovation, and found that there is not a single spectator in the hall. His monologue sounds in a complete void. His brilliant performance finds no response. At first, he will play even more furiously, trying to shout it out. Then, uncertainty will appear in his voice. Then, panic. And finally, a pitiful mutter. He will leave the stage humiliated not by the silence of the audience, but by its absence. Your silence is the empty hall. You deprive the troublemaker of his audience. You refuse to play the role he wrote for you, offended, justifying himself, sobbing, vengeful. Without you, his performance loses its meaning. His strength was not in himself, but in your reaction. You were a spectator, director, and critic all rolled into one. Without you, he is left alone with his script, which is of no interest to anyone. In this emptiness, he faces the most terrible thing himself, with his insignificant reason for aggression, with his thirst for attention, which is nothing to fill. Your silence makes him see the truth. His blow was not force, but an attempt at force, and it failed. The story of one of the most powerful examples of silence. Remember Marcus Aurelius, emperor. He had absolute power. He could execute, humiliate, ruin the life of anyone who did not please him. He had 1,000 reasons for anger: betrayal of subordinates, intrigues, denunciations, wars, epidemics. What did he do? He kept a diary. Meditations is the great book of Stoic silence. Turned inward. Instead of executing a negligent official, he analyzed his own irritation. Instead of taking revenge on conspirators, he wrote to himself, how much better is it to heal your own suffering than to cause suffering to others? His strength was not in his screams, but in this inner silence that he cultivated amidst the chaos of the empire. He did not suppress his anger. He transformed it into self-improvement. His silence was an active position, a position of creation, not destruction. He understood that his real empire was not lands and legions, but his own mind, and he defended this territory with silent rejection of chaos. And if you can't remain silent, when silence is not a weapon but capitulation, it is important not to fall into fanaticism. Stoicism is not about remaining silent like a fish about ice in any situation. There are cases when silence is criminal, when your boundaries are at risk. If you are systematically humiliated, your rights are violated. They try to suppress you. Silence can be taken for consent. What is needed here is not hysteria, but a firm, calm, emotionless statement. This tone is unacceptable with me. The conversation is over. And after that, your silence. First, a clear statement of rule, then a refusal to discuss it when others are at risk. If an innocent person suffers, your silence becomes complicity. Protecting the weak is an action that is within your control and your responsibility. When it comes to business, not emotions, a constructive work conflict where a solution needs to be found is not a reason for silence. It is a reason to turn off emotions and speak clearly, to the point, without resorting to personal attacks. The key is in the motive. Are you silent to maintain your inner peace and deprive the enemy of fuel? Or are you silent out of fear, weakness, inability to stand up for yourself? The first is a strategy. The second is a defeat. Your silence must be a conscious choice of a strong person and not a forced position of a victim. Workshop how to develop this ability to remain silent. This does not happen right away. Since childhood, we have been taught to give back, put in place, not give in. It takes practice. First, practice the pause. The next time you are provoked, mentally count to 5. Just inhale and exhale. This pause breaks the stimulus response pattern. It gives you back control. Second, reduce the importance. Ask yourself, will this matter in a year? In 5 years? Most reasons for conflict are momentary garbage, not worth your peace of mind. Third, redirect energy. The impulse to respond needs to be put somewhere, not extinguished, but redirected. Stand up and do 10 squats. Drink a glass of water quickly. Go outside and walk briskly. Physical action burns off adrenaline and gives the brain a break. Fourth, visualize a shield. Imagine that hurtful words are arrows, and your calm is a large, strong shield into which they stick and fall harmlessly to the ground. You are behind the shield. You are safe. You are simply observing this fruitless attack. Your silence is not weakness. It is not defeat. It is a reformatting of the rules of the game. You refuse to play cheap battles for someone else's self-affirmation. You save your resources for real battles, for your goals, for your development, for your peace. They are waiting for an explosion because they themselves live on the volcano of their emotions. You give them a vacuum. And in this vacuum, any, even the most violent fire, goes out. They are left alone with their own noise. And you live on. And this is the most deafening silence they have ever heard. Deafening silence. Why your peace is the most powerful response. We live in a world obsessed with noise. Social media screams about the importance of speaking out. Psychologists advise talking your grievances out loud. And society encourages instant reactions. Silence in this coordinate system is perceived as strangeness, weakness, or even defeat. But the ancient Stoics knew your peace is not the absence of action. It is an action of the highest order. It is a decision not to participate in a game whose rules are not written by you. Imagine a forest after fire. Black, scorched earth. But deep beneath it, life is already hidden. The roots are biding their time. They do not rush to the surface to prove something to the ashes. They are accumulating strength. Their silence is not death. It is a lull before rebirth. So your calm after someone else's attack is not a surrender. It is a gathering of strength. Gathering strength for something greater that has nothing to do with the offender. Social media. The noise factory and why your silence there is a superpower. This is especially evident on social media. Someone left a sarcastic comment, made an unkind post, posted a photo with a hint, standard scenario, get involved in a discussion, prove, humiliate in response. Spend hours of your life, nerves, energy, on what? On a virtual ghost whose opinion will not matter in a day. Now imagine the alternative. You just don't respond. Don't block with an angry cry. Don't write an angry opus. You just let it pass you by. Like rain on a waterproof raincoat. Your account is silent. Your page radiates peace. You don't get involved in a war because you are not a soldier in someone else's army. You are a civilian who simply does not open the door when someone else's conflict is knocking on it. What is going on in the head of a provocateur? He refreshes the page 10 times, waits, then 20, then he begins to doubt. Maybe he didn't see it? Should I write more? Maybe I didn't hurt him enough. He puts more and more effort into getting a reaction from you. And in response, silence. His own importance is melting before his eyes. Your silence in the digital space is the most modern and cruel form of ignoring, because everyone sees it, and everyone understands who really lost. Silence in relationships. How to prevent a fight from eating you whole. In personal relationships, silence is often considered dangerous. We don't talk, it's a bad sign. But there is a huge difference between silence punishment, I got offended and slammed the door, and silence mindfulness. Silence punishment is the same reaction, just passive. Its goal is to hurt the other person, to make them feel guilty. It is toxic. Silence mindfulness is your decision to take a time out, not to punish, but to avoid saying too much, to let emotions subside, to return to the conversation from a state of calm, not rage. The phrase, "I need an hour of silence to calm down and discuss this later," is not weakness. It is a manifestation of strength and respect, both for yourself and for your partner. You acknowledge that your first reaction can be destructive, and you take responsibility for it. This is silence that heals, not hurts. What to do with the rage that is asking to come out. Redirect the blow. The most common question. But how can I remain silent when everything is boiling inside? Suppressing emotions is harmful. Stoicism does not call for suppression. It calls for redirection. You feel adrenaline rushing through your body. You want to scream or cry. Great. Do not suppress it. Express this energy in physical action. Go to the gym. Punch a punching bag. Imagining not the face of the offender, but the situation itself. Knock it out of yourself. Do a general cleaning. Turn the chaos inside into order outside. Scream into a pillow. Unleash your anger where no one will see it. Write an angry letter. Pour out everything you think on paper, and then burn it. The burning ritual symbolizes that you are letting go of this story. You did not suppress the emotion. You expressed it, but you expressed it ecologically, not at the person, but in the space. You reacted, but did not let the reaction ruin your relationship or reputation. You saved face and inner peace. Exercise for training stoic calm. You need to train this like a muscle. Start small. 1. A day without excuses. During one day, catch the moment when you want to justify yourself to someone. "Oh, I was late because I didn't do it because..." And just do not justify yourself. Say, "I apologize." And that's it. Don't explain the reasons. See what happens. You'll find that the world hasn't collapsed and your self-esteem has grown. 2. Practice gray rock. If someone is persistently trying to sell you something, draw you into an unnecessary conversation, provoke you, be a gray rock. Give monosyllabic, boring answers without emotion. "I see, thank you, I'll think about it." The provocateur needs your energy, positive or negative. Don't give it. Be boring as a cobblestone. He will quickly lose interest in you. 3. Inner observer. In moments of stress, mentally step back. Imagine that you're not a participant in the event, but its observer. Look at the situation from the outside. Like a movie, this reduces the intensity of passions and turns on rational thinking. I wonder if this person is trying to insult me. What an interesting way to assert themselves. Your silence is not emptiness. It is a space that you fill with yourself and not with other people's dramas. This is a territory where you do not let those who do not deserve your attention. Every time you choose not to react, you do not lose. You are investing in your inner temple of peace. You are strengthening its walls. They are afraid of your silence because their strength was fed by your noise. You deprive them of their power source. You leave them alone with the most terrible enemy, their own emptiness. And at this time you live, and your life, full of meaning and peace, is the loudest answer you can give them. When silence speaks louder than words, the art of maintaining dignity. We often forget that silence is not a lack of communication. It is a different kind of communication, deeper and more powerful. While others throw words around like sand, trying to bring down their opponent, you stand on the solid rock of your calm, and this rock is unshakable. Imagine 2 martial artists. One is rushing around, throwing many bright, fast punches, wasting his energy. The other stands almost motionless, only occasionally making minimal movements to block. Who looks stronger? whose victory will be more convincing. The one who maintains energy and composure always has the advantage. Silence is a marker of your value. Your time and attention are your most valuable resource. When you reward someone with a strong reaction, even a negative one, you show that this person is worth your emotions, that he is important enough to spend your mental energy on him. What if the king personally argued with a street preacher? This is humiliating. His greatness is emphasized precisely by the fact that he does not stoop to a certain level. Your silence is a message. You are not at the level for me to waste my resources on you. You do not even deserve my anger. This is not arrogance. This is an adequate assessment of your own value. You do not allow random people to determine your emotional state. The practice of silence in everyday life. Start small. Do not argue with taxi drivers about politics. Do not justify yourself to a colleague who criticizes your work without reason. Do not explain your choice to relatives who will not understand anyway. Just nod and say, "I heard your opinion," and do not develop the topic. Do not try to convince. Your opinion is your territory, and you are not obliged to post it for everyone to see. This is especially important in work correspondence. When someone tries to drag you into an unnecessary conflict, answer briefly and neutrally. Got it. I'll do it the way I think is right. Period. Not, I'll do it because, but simply I'll do it. Explanations are requests for validation, approval. And you shouldn't ask anyone for approval of your decisions. What to do when it's impossible to remain silent. There are situations when silence can be perceived as consent or weakness. For example, if you are publicly accused of something you didn't do, or if your reputation is at risk. In such cases, use a limited response, not an emotional outburst, but a cold, clear statement, without excuses, without apologies. Example, your accusation is not true. I will not discuss it further. And that's it. You don't enter into a discussion. You don't prove it. You don't give arguments. You simply state the fact and close the topic. It's complicated. I really want to prove, explain, and reveal all my cards. But remember, your goal is not to convince your opponent. It's almost impossible. But to preserve your dignity and let others know that you are not participating in this game. Silence and intuition. When you stop constantly talking and reacting, an amazing thing happens. You begin to hear yourself better. Your intuition awakens. The noise of other people's opinions, advice, criticism fades away. And you begin to hear a quiet voice inside that always knows what you really need. Many wrong decisions are made under the influence of this external noise. We get married because it's time. We choose a job because it's prestigious. We buy things because everyone has them. Silence helps you return to yourself. Ask, what do I want? What will be right for me and not for others? Historical examples of the power of silence. Remember Gandhi. His nonviolent resistance was a form of silence, a refusal to play by the enemy's rules. He did not shout, did not rebel with weapons in his hands. He simply did not obey, and this crushed the empire. Or an example from nature. Deep-sea fish. They do not fuss, do not waste energy in vain. They save their energy because they know resources are limited. You, too, should save your mental strength for the truly important things. How to respond to accusations of insensitivity. When you choose silence, some may accuse you of coldness, insensitivity. You don't care at all. They will say, in fact, it is the opposite. You care so much that you protect your relationships from the destructive power of thoughtless words. You do not want to hurt another person in a fit of anger. You do not want to say something you will regret. This is the highest form of respect, not to give in to momentary emotions, but to maintain a sober mind for the sake of preserving something valuable. Your silence is not a wall that separates you from the world. It is a filter that lets through only what is truly worthy of your attention and energy. You do not withdraw from life. You simply choose which part of it to let into your inner world. And when you are silent, you are saying the most important thing. I am the master of my condition. Not you, not circumstances, not random people. Me. And that is the loudest declaration of power imaginable. The art of silence. How to turn silence into your greatest advantage. Silence is not emptiness. It is a space filled with meaning. When you are silent, you're not just saying nothing, you are saying a lot. You are telling the world, I am so confident in myself that I do not need constant confirmation of my importance. In Japanese culture, there's a concept called hari, unspoken understanding. When two people can be silently together, and this silence will be comfortable, filled with deep mutual understanding. This is a level of connection that many never reach because they are afraid of silence. Why are we so afraid of silence? From childhood, we are taught, answer when you are addressed, prove your point of view, don't be silent, it is impolite. We are taught that silence is a failure, a lack of reaction, weakness. But look at nature. The most dangerous predators sneak up silently. The deepest oceans keep their secrets in silence. The wisest decisions come in moments of silence. Your ability to remain silent is not a social disadvantage. It is an evolutionary advantage that we have forgotten how to use. Silence as a tool for decision-making. When you are faced with a difficult choice, what do? Consult with a dozen people? Search for information on the internet? Start an internal mental chewing gum? Try a different approach. Sit in silence. Not just without sounds, but without internal dialogue. Let your thoughts settle, like turbidity in a glass of water. When the water becomes clear, the solution reveals itself. Clear and obvious. You don't need to ask anyone. You don't need to prove. You just need to stop making noise inside yourself. How to practice silence in a noisy world. Start small. 1. 15 minutes of silence in the morning. When you wake up, don't immediately grab your phone. Sit with a cup of tea in silence. Look out the window. Let your brain wake up naturally, without an information attack. 2. Silent walks. Walk without music in your headphones, without podcasts. Listen to the sound of your steps, the singing of birds, the sound of the wind. This is meditation in motion. 3. Digital detox. Once a week, have a day without social networks. Do not check likes. Do not read comments. Your self-esteem should not depend on digital approval. Gradually, you will notice how your perception changes. You will begin to notice things that previously passed by your attention. You will begin to hear not only people's words, but also their true intentions. Silence and emotional intelligence. The most emotionally intelligent people know how to remain silent at the right moments. They do not interrupt. They do not rush to express their opinion. They do not fill pauses with unnecessary words. When someone shares a problem with you, the most common response is not advice, not a story from your experience, but simply attentive silence. You give the person space to speak out, to feel their emotions, to come to their own conclusions. Your silence says, what you feel is important. I am with you. I hear you. This is more powerful than any words of support. When silence becomes a weapon. But there's a flip side. Silence can be not only healing, but also destructive. Ignoring as a form of emotional abuse is also silence, but of a completely different quality. How to distinguish healthy silence from toxic. It's simple by intention. If you are silent to maintain peace and your boundaries, this is strength. If you are silent to punish, manipulate, hurt, this is weakness. Never use silence as a weapon against your loved ones. Use it as a shield against those who do not respect your boundaries. Silence in negotiations. Professional negotiators know whoever remains silent longer wins. After you have voiced your offer or price, shut up. The first one to speak loses. In business, silence is a demonstration of confidence. You do not fuss. Do not justify your position. Do not add unnecessary details. You have spoken and wait. This shows that you know the value of your words and are not afraid of losing the deal. Try it in your next negotiations. Voice your condition and look at the interlocutor silently. Count to 30 to yourself. You will be surprised how many concessions the other side will make just to relieve the tension of the pause. The philosophy of silence in different cultures. In Finland, there is a proverb. Speech is silver, silence is gold. In Scandinavian countries, pauses in conversation are the norm, a sign of respect for the interlocutor. It is believed that if a person is silent, He is thinking about what is said and not just waiting for his turn to speak. In Eastern practices, silence is the path to enlightenment. Zen Buddhists practice silent retreats, where participants do not speak for weeks. They find that when the mind is free from the need to verbalize thoughts, a new level of understanding of the world opens up. Western culture, unfortunately, has lost this art, but you can bring it back into your life. Your silence is your power. In a world where everyone is shouting, a quiet voice is heard best. In a crowd where everyone is rushing, a motionless person attracts attention. Your silence is not a lack of position. It is a position so deep and strong that it does not need constant confirmation in words. You do not have to react to every provocation. You do not have to participate in every argument. You do not have to express an opinion on every issue. Your power is in the ability to choose when to speak and when to remain silent. This ability makes you the master of your time, energy, and attention. When you are silent, you do not lose the opportunity to be heard. You gain the opportunity to hear yourself. And in this silence, the most important answers are born. Those that cannot be found in the words of others can only be found in the depths of your own being. Learn to be silent, and you will learn to hear the music of life, which is drowned out by the noise of useless words. Your silence will become a space where all the most valuable things are born: clarity, wisdom, and true strength.